We have, on the front page of Drudge, we have our president bowing to the premier of a communist country. I mean, there's just stuff that you can't make up. If I would have told you, put yourself back. If I would have told you when we were going through the Gore versus Bush time in 2000, and I told you this was what our country was going to look like by 2010, you would say, well, you'd say what everybody is saying about me now.
You're crazy.
You're crazy.
Unless you told me Gore was going to win, then I might believe it. I might believe that we were headed that direction. But look at where we got and how quickly we got there and who got us here. I mean, George W. Bush contributed to some of this.
Some of this?
Yeah, well,
a lot of this.
Yeah, he put us on the socialist track. He did.
I mean, I can't. Honey, I am violating our marriage vows to save our marriage vows. I mean, don't tell me that he didn't contribute to this, because your next wife, what? She's going to sit there and she's going to accept it from her husband? Hey, look, your first husband started it. Robert Creamer is back now on the Huffington Post. Robert Creamer is a Marxist who spent time in jail because he was embezzling from big banks. He now says, and by the way, his plan for progressives and a progressive takeover is what the White House said is the blueprint of what they're doing. As the Senate vote looms on President Obama's proposal to hold the big Wall Street banks accountable, Republican members of the Senate are beginning to wake up to a fearful possibility that the Tea Party populist pitchforks may be turned against the Wall Street and Republican senators who defend the big banks. Turns out the recent polling has shown that Wall Street bankers are almost as unpopular with Tea Party types as President Obama. A recent Bloomberg poll found that while the self-identified Tea Party supporters generally oppose big government, they are more happy to look to government to rein in Wall Street. What's more, almost half said the government should do something about executive bonuses. The president and Senate Democratic leadership plan to frame the debate on big bank accountability as a showdown between interests of Main Street and those on Wall Street. Republicans will have a very tough time if they find themselves on the Wall Street side of the debate, since Wall Street bankers are about as popular as Jack the Ripper. So in other words, what they're doing is they're framing the debate instead of about what the regulation is and what the regulation will do. Instead, they intend on making it personal and about the big banks and who wouldn't like it. Just like healthcare. Instead of about making it about the actual healthcare, they made it personal. They made it about little Sally Muckenfutch with only one eye and only half a nostril. And why do you hate her so much? It's what they do every time. May I read this to you? What no one seemed to notice was the ever-widening gap between the government and the people. Just think how very wide this gap was to begin with. Then it became always wider. You know, it doesn't make people close to their government to be told that this is the people's government, a true democracy, or even to have a civilian defense force, or even to vote. All this has little, really nothing to do with knowing one is governing. What happened here was the gradual habitation of the people, little by little, to be governed by surprise, to receiving decisions deliberated in secret, to believing that the situation was so complicated that the government had to act on information which the people could not understand, or so dangerous that even if the people could not understand it, it couldn't be released because of national security. And their sense of identification with the leader, their trust in him, made it easier to widen this gap and reassured those who would have otherwise worried about it. The separation of government from people, this widening gap, took place so gradually, so insensibly, each step disguised, perhaps not even intentionally, as a temporary emergency measure, or associated with true patriotic allegiance, or with real social purposes. All of the crises, reforms, real reforms, too, so occupied the people that they did not see the slow motion underneath of the whole process of government growing remoter and remoter. That is from the chapter, but then it was too late. From the book, They Thought They Were Free. The Germans, 1933, 1945. That could have been written today. That doesn't mean that we are headed for that. No, let me rephrase that. Let me be more clear. It doesn't mean that this president or this Congress will take us there. But it does mean that the more power we give government, the more we allow them to become more and more remote to us, indifferent to us, the more power we give them to decide our fate and decide who should be listened to and who shouldn't be, who should live, who should die, who's politically correct and who is not, who should succeed and who should fail. The more we let them decide those things, it may not be this president, it may not be this Congress, but it will be in our future. Because all we have to do is elect the wrong person once, and they have all the structure they need. Let's not finish the job that Germany started in 1898. We're headed down the same pathways, and both parties have been involved. Back in a sec.